All right, so how much does it cost to get a food license in the UK? Well, if you're looking to launch a food business of any kind, we just wrapped up a podcast explaining the details about how much it costs to actually get a food license in the UK, and you might be surprised at what it costs and maybe what it doesn't. So check out the podcast. If you got any questions, let us know here on Marketing Food Online UK. We are all about UK food entrepreneurship. I'll see you on our next video. Enjoy the podcast.
Imagine you're finally ready, ready to launch that amazing food truck idea, or maybe set up a cool pop-up kitchen, or perhaps even open that cozy little cafe you've been dreaming about right here in the UK.
Yeah, the exciting part.
Totally. Your head's buzzing with recipes, the branding looks great, you've maybe even eyed the perfect spot, but then that little knot of dread kind of tightens up, doesn't it?
The practicalities.
Exactly. How much is all the official stuff, the paperwork, those licenses? How much is that all going to cost me? I think loads of aspiring food entrepreneurs, they just assume there's going to be some hefty initial fee.
A really common assumption, yeah, that just getting registered, getting compliant is going to take a big chunk out of the startup budget.
Right, just to get through the door. But what if we told you that assumption, well, for the most crucial first step anyway, it might be, well, kind of wrong.
Or at least not the whole story.
Precisely. We're here to unpack a genuinely surprising truth today. Honestly, it might just save you some serious stress and maybe even some cash right from the very start.
And it's a misconception that can genuinely put people off, can it? They factor in these assumed admin costs, and it just feels like another barrier to actually starting their dream.
It really can. So look, our mission in this deep dive is pretty clear. We want to cut through that confusion. We're going to highlight what's actually free, what things do come with a price tag, and crucially, why understanding that difference is just so important if you're looking to launch your own food venture.
And we've really dug into the sources for this one.
Oh, yeah. We've been all over the official government sites, gov.uk, the Food Standards Agency, you name it, and then confirmations from just, well, loads of different local councils right across the country.
England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland. The picture is surprisingly consistent.
We did the digging so you don't have to.
And what's really striking, I think, from looking at all those sources is just how consistent that core message is. It's not like, one rule here, another rule there.
No, it's pretty uniform.
It really is, across all levels of government. And that genuinely simplifies things for new entrepreneurs, doesn't it? It means that basic compliance, especially around food safety, isn't immediately blocked by some big financial hurdle.
Okay, so let's unpack that core truth then, because this is probably the biggest takeaway from our whole deep dive today.
Yeah, the headline news.
The headline is this: registering your standard food business in the UK. The basic registration that covers food hygiene and safety oversight is completely, totally free.
Zero cost.
Zero cost. Across England, Wales, Northern Ireland, and Scotland. That's right, free. And look, this isn't some temporary offer or a weird loophole we found.
No, not at all. It's a widely confirmed fact stated very clearly.
Yeah. Official government websites like gov.uk, the Food Standards Agency, they stated explicitly, registering your food business, no fee.
And crucially, they also say that this registration cannot be refused as long as you provide the necessary details, obviously,
Right.
which is important. It's not just about saving you money up front, although that's great. It's about making sure that entry point is accessible. Anyone wanting to start a legitimate food operation can get on the radar, ensuring that basic food safety oversight is there from day one without sort of penalizing startups financially for doing the right thing.
And like you said, it wasn't just the big government sites saying this. We checked with individual local councils too, just to be sure,
Boots on the ground research.
Kind of. And the message was incredibly consistent there too. Our research covered so many different councils, big cities like Leeds, Liverpool, Sheffield, boroughs like Hackney, Brent, Hinckley and Bosworth, Milton Keynes, Cambridge, Eastham, Huntingdonshire, the list goes on.
South Ribble, Swindon, yeah.
All confirming the same thing. No fee for that standard food business registration. The sheer breadth of that confirmation, it really drives the point home, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This isn't some fluke. It's the national standard.
Absolutely. That uniformity across so many different types of local authorities, it just gives you a predictable, supportive starting point. It means, okay, registration is mandatory, you have to do it, but there's no fee tied to that standard process itself.
Right. Which is huge.
It is huge because that clarity lets you focus your precious early cash on your actual product or marketing training or maybe getting slightly better equipment
Yeah,
rather than just initial bureaucracy costs.
makes sense.
And it's worth remembering the timing thing here, too. You generally need to register your business at least 28 days before you actually start trading.
Ah, right, the 28-day rule.
Exactly. And that lead time lets the council get you on their system, prepare for any initial checks, or offer advice if needed, again, without charging you a fee just for the act of registering.
Okay, so standard registration, mandatory but free, needs doing 28 days before trading. That seems pretty clear. But is it always quite that straightforward?
Well, this is where it gets a little more nuanced.
I thought there might be a but. So what if you're, say, in a massive hurry? Or maybe you want a bit more guidance up front?
Right. So while the core registration itself is free, we did find situations where costs can crop up. It turns out some local councils offer optional paid-for services.
Optional being the key word there.
Absolutely key. These are for businesses maybe seeking faster processing times or perhaps wanting some extra hand-holding or specific advice before they even open. It's not paying for the registration itself, it's paying a premium for, I suppose, convenience or extra support.
Okay, that's interesting. So paying for speed or advice, but not the basic registration.
Precisely. And this, it brings up an important point for any new business, doesn't it? You have to weigh up the cost versus the benefit of these optional extras.
Yeah, definitely.
Is paying for faster processing actually worth that extra money right at the start when maybe every penny counts? Or, on the other hand, could paying for an advisory visit potentially save you more money down the line by avoiding costly mistakes or delays?
Good question. It's a strategic choice then, early on.
It really is. It speaks to those practical decisions entrepreneurs have to make, even at the very beginning.
Okay, so can we give people an idea of what these optional costs might look like? Are we talking big money?
Well, it varies, of course, but we found a concrete example in the Swindon area, which lays it out quite clearly in their published fees.
Okay.
So, for instance, in Swindon, you could opt for a fast-track registration. That means they aim to process it within 14 days. And that service costs £66.86.
Okay, so under 70 quid for faster process.
Yeah, or you could go for the fast-track registration plus a fast-track initial inspection. That combined service was £133.71.
Right.
And then there's another option, just a pre-inspection advisory visit. So no fast-tracking of the registration, but someone comes out to give you advice beforehand. That was £168.48.
Okay, so there are options with clear price tags, but
Crucially, they are optional. You don't have to pay these fees to get your standard registration done through the normal, free process. These are just enhancements you can choose if they suit your specific business needs or maybe your timeline.
got it. That distinction is really important.
It's an interesting approach, isn't it? It gives businesses flexibility. If you have really tight deadlines or maybe a complex setup you're worried about, that faster service or expert advice might feel invaluable and worth the cost.
Yeah, I can see that.
But for many others, the standard free registration allowing the normal processing time might be perfectly fine, and they can keep that cash for something else. The key thing, as you said, is that basic compliance doesn't have a price tag attached.
Okay, this is making a lot more sense now. So standard registration, free, optional extras for speed or advice, paid but not required. What about other things?
Yes, the other things.
Because not every food business is just a simple kitchen selling food during normal hours, is it? What if your setup is more specialized? Or you operate at particular times? Or sell specific products?
Exactly. And this is where you move beyond that basic food business registration and into other types of licenses you might need. And yes, these additional licenses almost always come with fees.
Right, so the free part covers the basics, but specific activities might trigger extra costs.
Think of it like this, maybe. Your basic food business registration is like the free operating system on your computer. It's essential. It works. It gets you started.
Okay.
But if you want to add specific software, maybe for high-end graphic design or complex accounting or specific games, those extra applications or premium features usually cost money.
That's a good analogy. So these other licenses are like the premium add-ons for specific tasks.
Pretty much. And this is where, honestly, doing your homework and detailed business planning becomes absolutely critical. Because your specific operational model, like where you plan to sell, when you plan to sell, and what exactly you plan to sell, that directly dictates which, if any, of these additional paid licenses you'll need.
And ignoring them is probably not a good idea.
Definitely not. It could lead to unexpected costs, sure, but also potentially serious legal trouble, fines, even being stopped from trading altogether.
Okay, so let's break down some of these common add-on licenses then. What's first?
Well, a common one, especially for mobile businesses, is a street trading license.
Right, so food trucks, market stalls, that sort of thing.
Exactly. If you're planning to operate from a stall, a van, even a little catering part on public roads or designated market areas, you'll almost certainly need one of these. It's mainly about managing public space and ensuring fair trading practices.
And the cost? Is it standard?
No, this is where it starts to vary quite a bit. It's set by the local council. Our research, looking at places like Cambridge City Council, Northeast Derbyshire, Liverpool, they suggest a typical range might be somewhere between, say, £150 and £500 per year.
Per year, okay.
Yeah, often an annual fee. But it really can differ depending on the specific location, maybe the size of your pitch, how often you trade. So if your dream involves being mobile, you absolutely need to budget for this. And crucially, check the exact fees with your specific local council.
Got it. Check locally for street trading. What else?
Another one is the late night refreshment license.
Okay, sounds specific. When does that apply?
This kicks in if you plan to sell hot food or hot drinks between the hours of 11 p.m. at night and 5 a.m. in the morning.
The late night kebab run license.
Basically, yes.
Oh.
Or late night cafes, takeaways open after the pubs close, that sort of thing. It falls under the Licensing Act 2003.
Now, there are costs involved.
Yes. Sources like Hinckley and Bosworth Council and Leeds City Council confirm that getting this often requires you to hold a premises license first. And that premises license typically comes with its own fees, which, again, vary by council.
So late night trading means likely needing a premises license, which costs money.
That's usually the way it works. So if your business plan involves serving hungry customers after 11 p.m., you definitely need to factor in these additional licensing costs and requirements.
Right. It makes sense there'd be extra rules for late night operations.
Yeah, it's often about managing things like potential noise, public order, safety during quieter hours, especially near residential areas. It's an extra layer of regulation to balance the business activity with the community's needs.
Okay. Anything else major?
The big one often is alcohol licenses.
Yes. If you want to serve drinks with the food.
Exactly. If your plan involves selling any alcohol at all, whether it's a restaurant with a wine list, a pub serving food, or even just beers from your food truck, you're entering a different realm of licensing.
And presumably more cost and complexity.
Definitely. Our sources, like Sprint Law UK, make it clear this usually requires separate licenses. Often you'll need a premises license for the venue itself and a personal license for at least one named individual who is responsible for overseeing alcohol sales.
2 licenses, potentially.
Often, yes. And both of these always come with fees. There's no free option here. The amounts can vary quite significantly depending on your location, the rateable value of your premises, and the scale of your operation.
So alcohol, definitely costs involved, potentially quite complex.
That's a fair summary. It's often the most involved and potentially expensive area of licensing for food businesses. If booze is part of your plan, you really need to brace yourself for a more detailed application process and a larger financial outlay for these specific permissions.
Okay, so we've got the free basic registration, optional paid extras, and then these required paid licenses for specific things like street trading, late nights, or alcohol.
Exactly. And you can see how it builds a picture, can't
Yes.
you? The free registration ensures that all food businesses meet basic hygiene and safety standards. That's the universal baseline. But then these additional paid licenses address very specific public policy concerns. Managing shared public spaces for street traders, maintaining order and reducing impact during late hours, and controlling alcohol sales because of the wider societal implications. Each costs money because each requires specific administration and oversight from the authorities to ensure safety and community well-being.
That makes a lot of sense when you put it like that. It's layered.
It is. It's a nuanced regulatory landscape.
Okay, so let's try and pull all this together then. For you listening, especially if you're an aspiring UK food entrepreneur, let's clarify this financial picture.
Yeah, the key takeaways.
Basically, we've seen 3 main tiers of cost, haven't we? Tier 1, free. That's your standard food business registration. It's mandatory, covers hygiene and safety, can't be refused. Your essential starting point.
Tick.
Tier 2,
Huh.
optional paid. These are things like fast-track processing or pre-inspection advice visits that some councils offer. You pay if you want the extra speed or guidance, but you absolutely don't have to.
Correct. Optional extras.
And Tier 3, required paid. These are the additional specific licenses triggered by how you operate, like needing a street trading license if you're mobile, a late-night refreshment license for selling hot food after 11 p.m., or alcohol licenses if you plan to serve drinks.
And these costs are directly tied to your specific business choices and activities.
Exactly. So understanding these three tiers, it just gives you so much clarity, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It stops those nasty surprise costs from potentially derailing your launch plans. It empowers you, really, to plan your business strategically, to budget accurately, and just feel more confident right from the beginning.
Yeah, knowing this means your initial budget could be focused where it should be on your actual food, your marketing, making your business great, rather than being unexpectedly swallowed up by admin fees you thought were unavoidable.
Precisely. You can allocate resources much more effectively.
So, you see, knowing these distinctions can really shape how you approach your initial setup, your budgeting. No more guesswork, hopefully. No more sleepless nights worrying about massive hidden fees for basic registration.
Yeah, I remember hearing about a small artisan baker. She'd put off starting for months because she was convinced the startup paperwork cost would be huge.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then imagine her relief when she discovered the core registration was actually free. It completely changed her perspective and freed up capital she could then invest directly into her ovens and ingredients.
That's brilliant. It just shows how important this info is.
And it points to a broader idea, doesn't it? Beyond just food, lots of regulatory areas probably have a similar structure.
How do you mean?
Well, you often find a core compliance requirement that might be free or low cost just to get everyone on board. Then maybe optional paid services for convenience, and then specific, more expensive licenses for activities that carry more risk or require more oversight.
Yeah, I can see that. It's probably quite a common government approach.
It balances making basic compliance accessible while ensuring that more complex or potentially impactful activities are properly managed and funded through fees.
Right. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive then, the key thing to take away is this. Yes, basic food business registration in the UK is free. That's fantastic news.
Huge news.
But your specific operational choices, things like needing things done super fast, or deciding where you'll sell, or when you'll be open, or what exactly you'll sell, those choices can trigger costs for additional specialized licenses.
So it's not a completely free ride for every possible scenario.
No, definitely not a blanket free-for-all. But it's also certainly not the universally expensive process for basic entry that many people fear it is.
Absolutely. Know the difference.
Know the difference. Now, here's something for you to maybe mull over. How can understanding these kinds of initial cost distinctions, the free basics versus the paid extras, empower you to plan more strategically? Not just for a food business, maybe, but for any kind of venture you might be considering.
Interesting question.
Yeah, what other simple-seeming processes out there might actually hide similar layers, free essentials versus paid options or specific requirements? Worth thinking about, isn't it?
Definitely food for thought.
We really hope this deep dive has left you feeling a bit clearer, maybe a bit more empowered, and definitely more ready to tackle that brilliant food idea you've got simmering away.